how to create a custom chart in Excel, or in other words, how can we create a modern looking chart in Excel and a beautiful one. So instead of using a standard version of the chart that Excel gives to you, you can create your own customized chart. And this is what we're gonna see here in today's video, step by step from scratch. And I really hope this video can help you out, and let's go and find out how can we create customized chart in Excel. Let's go. The first thing that we need in order to create any type of chart in Excel is to have a data set. It doesn't matter if you have a large data set like the one that I have here in blue, or if you have a smaller data set like this one here that I have to the right. I'm going to use this smaller version of data because I think it's simple to create a chart in Excel. But it doesn't matter. You can create a chart in Excel using any different type of data. I think it's also very important to have as the data, as the first column, you have the categories, and as the second column, you have the values, currency, percentage, numbers, fractions, doesn't matter, okay? Now let me select everything that I want to use in the chart, and then I can go to insert and select the chart that I want to use. In this video, I want to stick with the column chart because maybe it's the most common one. So just go click here in the first option, okay, like this. And this is the chart that Excel gives to us. And as you can see, it's already working. So I can see here each one of the different categories that I have, January, February, March, and on and on. And also to the left, I can see the values that corresponding to each one of the different columns. So if I want to compare, let's say, January against February, I can do so because I can compare the heights of each one of the columns, and I also can compare those values, their values, okay? But let's do something different here. Let me click in this chart, and then I'm going to press Ctrl+C to copy. I'm going to click Alt in a cell, and then Ctrl+V to copy and paste the same chart. With this new chart right here, I'm going to click, hold, and bring it down, maybe right here. We're going to be able to compare the standard version and also the custom version that we're gonna create here in Excel. Let's click here in this first chart, and then in this circle, little circle that we have in the middle, click, hold, and drag to the right to make sure we can increase the size, the area of the chart. And to get started with the customizations that we're gonna do here for this chart, I think we can start with the values to the left. The values, as we saw before, that corresponding to each one of the columns, the amount of each one of the columns. Instead of using the values here to the left, I think it's a good idea to input the values above each one of those columns that we have. But before we do it, instead of having here, let's say, an area that goes from 0 up to $6,000, maybe we can read off this area, and that way we're going to have more useful space here in the chart. Because as you can see, our values start from 0 and goes all the way up to $12,000. But in my opinion, there is no necessity to start from 0 because we are not using any of this data. Maybe if we read it off this range, we can still see properly the data and maybe with more preciseness. So let me right click in those values and then format axis. Now here to the right, I want to change, instead of using minimum as 0, maybe we can change to 5,000, enter, okay. Or we can even change to 6,000, enter. Now we have even more preciseness here. And with those numbers to the left selected, I can read it off all those values. And also this grid line that we have in the background, I can select and delete. Now with the chart selected, I can go to chart design, and here to the left, add chart element. I can choose data labels, outside, and like this. Now instead of have the values to the left, we have the values above each one of the columns, or we have the columns underneath the values. And we can also start to compare the chart that we have, the custom one, with the standard version in Excel. I think it's starting to looking better. Now let me double click here in the column 1, 2 to be able to customize the columns. And as the gap width, instead of using a large number like 200%, I can decrease this number a bit, such as maybe using 100. Of course, it's gonna depend on your screen size. So maybe you can stick with 50 or 150, it depends, okay? Maybe I'm gonna keep 120, enter. Now I'm gonna go to effects, shadow, and choose here the first option as the shadow. Then I go to fill and line. As the fill, maybe I can choose a different style of color. Instead of using solid fill and then choose here a standard color that Excel gives me, I can customize my own color. I'm gonna click more colors, and here I have access to a lot of different colors. And I can also customize my colors, or I can go to the first option, standard, to have access to a more variety of colors. I want to use maybe a green one like this. I think I'm gonna stick with this green right here. Okay, and yeah, that's it. Now I'm gonna close the fill and go to border, solid line, and I'm gonna choose the same green as before. And as you can see here, recent colors, I have exactly the green that I made. So let me click here. And the real trick here in the border is to change the width. Because if you use here a larger number, instead of having a sharp angle corner in the column chart, you're gonna have a rounder one. So in the width, maybe I'm gonna use 10, or actually I can use 12, I think. Yeah, like this. And as you can see, now I have a much more different design here in the columns. Another thing that I want to change here is now the numbers is too close to the columns. Maybe we can take the number and bring it a little bit up just to separate a little bit. So let me click in the numbers and I go to this second to last option, size and properties, click here and then alignment. And we have a lot of different options as the margin here. The one that I'm going to change is the top margin. And I know that it can sound wrong because as I want to move the numbers up, maybe I need to change the bottom margin, not the top margin. But here in Excel, to move the numbers up, I need to change the top margin or make the top margin larger. So anyway, let me, instead of using 0.02 here, maybe I can use 0.1. Yeah, okay, now it's already good. And the last thing that we can do with the values, instead of using 2 decimal places to show the cents, such as 51 cents, 58 cents, 18 cents, and on, I can read it off this option. So let me click here in the label options, and then I go to number. I want to use as category a currency because we are talking about money. And instead of using 2 decimal places, I want to use 0. Enter. Now I can close this panel and we are almost done. Our chart is already looking very good. And we can still change the headers or the title of our chart, and also maybe the color of the fonts that we have in the numbers, in the headers, and here in the legend, in the category. And we can also read it off the outline of the chart. So let me click in the chart and go to first, read it off the outline, go to format, shape outline, no outline. And if you also click here, shape fill and no fill, you can make your chart a little bit transparent. Or in other words, to properly say it, you're gonna have 100% transparency in the background of your chart. And if you click in the chart, click, hold, and drag over anything, you're gonna be able to see that the background is transparent. But in this case, I think it's better to keep the background as the white one. Okay, like this. Now with everything selected, I can go to Font tab, put everything in bold, and change the font color to a black one like this. And I can also click here in the title and make it a little bit smaller, maybe using 12 as the font size like this. And yeah, we're done. So this is how we can create a modern looking chart here in Excel to help us on a daily basis to use it in a presentation, to create a report or a dashboard using Excel. And as you can see, I think it's much better than the previous one that we had, or with the standard version that Excel gives to us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or any suggestions to the next videos, comment down below, and I see you tomorrow as every day has a new video. I see you there.